everybody, Josh from Darkside here. The store is having a 1K next week. There's going to be the new format of battle styles on, and we're going to take a look at 5 plays for that event and 5 lists in general if you're not sure what to play in the new rotation. So we're going to go over a new deck for the next 5 videos leading up to the event that is next weekend, April 8th at 11 a.m. All the details for that will be posted in the description of this video, so you can check all that stuff out. But the first deck we're going to look at is one of the mainstay decks of the last format, Mew VMAX. So Mew VMAX at the end of the format, last few months, did become double turbo base with only like the 4 energy in it. But I think for the new rotation, Fusion Strike energy is the way to go, because it lets you hit those powerful EXs with your 1 prizer and lets you preserve your Mews for later, because they will have a hard time knocking out your Mews. So if you hit them with the Meloetta fast, they make it take the 1 prizer, you can have a big advantage, in my opinion. So we're going to jump right into that deck list right now. So you do start with the 4 Mew V. Obviously, you got the energy mix. Search for an energy card, attach to one of your Pokemon. Sometimes you have to use this attack. If your opponent gets a slow start, and that's just one of the things you got to do. It's not like a big deal. It's not ideal, but it's not a bad thing if that's what you have to do. Then we got the 3 Mew VMAXs. It's got Cross Fusion Strike, which is the main thing you're going to be looking at in this deck. Choose one of your bench Fusion Strike Pokemon and use it as this attack. You got your Meloetta and your Genesect attacks, which we'll talk about in a second. You also have Max Miracle, so if you have a Mew and a Mew, it doesn't get around any effects on your opponent's active. That would be like for Goodra V-Star, if they have a Miltank and you can attack with Meloetta, or Duraludon VMAX kind of thing. So it does let you still damage them. Then we do have the Meloetta, Melodious Echo, 70 for each Fusion Strike energy attached to all your Pokemon. You got that Elisa Sparkle we're going to see here. You hit them, you do so much damage, and your opponent's just like, you did 280 with a 90 HP basic. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Then we got the main draw engine of the deck, Genesect V. Once per turn, you may draw cards until you have as many cards in your hand as you have Fusion Strike Pokemon in play. And then does Technoblast 210. Next turn, this Pokemon cannot attack. So if your Mew VMAX did copy Genesect, you'd have to like switch or attack with a different Pokemon the next turn. But the great thing about Fusion Strike system is if you got 3 Genesects in play, as long as you can get to the number to draw cards, you can just keep drawing cards. And that is pretty sweet. So the deck just have a simple amount of Pokemon. Nothing crazy, you kind of just consistency, and you just want to get going and do your thing. So move on to the trainer cards here. We got those Elisa Sparkles. Choose up to 2 of your Fusion Strike Pokemon for each of those Pokemon. Search your deck for a Fusion Strike energy card and attach to that Pokemon. So a few things here is you got to choose the Pokemon before you search your deck. Just make sure you do that. Just one of those like order of operations things. So you'll be like, I target Meloetta and Mew, and then you search your deck there. A thing that can get awkward. Sometimes you like need to draw Fusion Strike energy, but you're worried if you draw Fusion Strike energy. So you gotta debate if you want to play the Elisa Sparkle. But most times you see that card in your hand, you're like, alright, I'm playing Sparkle. And we're on our way to attacking. You got the 2 bosses order, obviously. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. Even better than that, we got EXs, because you are not able to choose it with Serena, that we have a copy of. Discard the 3 cards from your hand. You must discard at least 1 card. If you do, draw cards until you have 5. We don't really want to use that one. But you switch one of your opponent's bench V with their active. Boom, bring up those V-Stars. So try to save the boss's order for the new EXs or non-rule box Pokemon, and that Serena to finish off that Lugia or like Regieleki VMAX. We got a copy of Judge here. The control versions play 2 to 4 Judges I've seen. This one we're just doing the 1. Each player shovels their hand deck and draw 4. Marnie is no longer legal, but that's okay. You never really worried about Marnie. They just play Judge. Just a good disruption. If you do that and pop a Path to the Peak and play, or they just knocked you out, you ruin their hand, you get a knockout, you're back in the lead. The same goes for Roxanne. You can only discard if your opponent has 3 or less prizes. You both shuffle your hand in your deck. You draw 6. They draw 2. So if your opponent hits you with the Drapion V on your Mew and knocks you out, you can bring up your new Pokemon, give them a 2-card hand, get that Path into play, lock them out of the game. Hopefully they're not insane at Roxanne, because some people think Roxanne Path, or Roxanne in general, is a lie. I've been on both sides of it. It just kind of happens. If your opponent uses a lot of resources so far, it's looking good. If you're like, wow, they have 3 researches left in their deck, they might be drawing 7 cards. Then we got the 4 Ultra Ball, discard 2 cards, search for Pokemon. It also just helps you thin your hand to be able to draw more cards with Genesect, because like VIP Pass only works in turn 1. Some games you don't need, like Loss Remover, or I'm sorry, Vacuum. Sorry, Lost Vacuum. Or, you know, like one of those things and you can just discard. We got 2 Nest Ball. Quick Ball is out of here. Nest Ball, search your deck for a basic Pokemon from your bench. The only thing that is different is you can't play with a full hand, and you don't get to discard another card, but still very good. Then we got 1 Feather Ball. Search your deck for Pokemon that has no retreat cost. Reveal them in your hand. That is good for getting Mew V and Mew VMAX. It's a way to not have to discard a card. Just like a 5th option to get a VMAX, which is pretty good. Then we got the 4 Battle VIP Pass. You can only use this card during your first turn. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon. Put them on your bench. Shuffle your deck. It's one of those cards after turn 1. You just discard it with Ultra Ball. But this card is very, very good. This card is... You see this card in your opening hand, and you're like, wow, we're already off to a good game. Then you got the 4 Power Tablets. During this turn, your Fusion Strike Pokemon attack 230 more. This is the insane part of the deck, in my opinion, because you can just play 4 in one turn. There are games I have been beat by because of my opponents. Like, I need to play 4 or 3 of them, and they're like, oh, I did it because I drew 17 cards this turn, and you're dead. This card's insane. It fixes your numbers, and it gets double turbo. Like, if you know, oh, I'm 20 short now. Nope, it makes Meloetta do like 240 turn 1, potentially, or even more. It lets if you have 4 fusion energy, you can get up to, what, 310, 400 damage. And Whaler DX hasn't been printed that is 420 HP or whatever yet. So, that is a good thing. So, we will move on there. We got the 4 Crabomatic. You have to discard an item card. Flip a coin of heads, just search for a card. Pretty insane there, too. The only downside is now that tools are not items. You cannot discard a tool to do that. But if heads you get any card, and tails you get your other card with Genesect. That is the way you gotta look at it. So move on there. We got the 2 switch card. Switch your active basic. With 1 of your bench Pokemon, heal 30. That is good in the Lost Box matchup because they can kind of try to save-a-lot you out of the game. But you do get to heal 30. Then you got the Lost Vacuum. Put a card in the Lost Zone. And then choose a tool or stadium and play and put it in the Lost Zone. Something got Path to the Peak that you don't want to stick or a random tool or whatever. Get that out of here. And also removes 2 cards from your hand to draw 1 card with Genesect. We do have a copy of Switch, though, just to get the Pokemon out of there anyway. In case you get a Mew that gets paralyzed or something, you can just switch out of it. Then we got 1 Escape Rope. There's a Clef Key in the set that says as long as you're active, your opponent. No Pokemon in play, basic Pokemon in play has an ability. Escape Rope is really good. If they get 2 Clef Keys, that's okay, because we'll talk about how we can get around that in a second. Then you got the 3/4 Seal Stone, because Mew last set, when they released Silver Tempest, said, you know what, Mew needs a V-Star power. Mew doesn't have one. We feel really bad for Mew. Mew keeps getting kept down in the meta. Let's go to V-Star power. And this one just says, search for a card. So, you just get to search for any card you want. Because Mew needed that. Mew really, Mew, Genesect was walking, it's like, whoa, what's this stone here? I'm going to pick it up. And then I'm going to get any card I want. Because why not? But, like I said, don't forget, tools are different from items now, so you cannot discard with Crabomatic. Remember that when you're going to your locals, or practicing for regionals, or at a region. Just remember, you don't want to get a penalty, because you forgot that. And then we got 2 Swing Spell. These are still very relevant in the meta, despite skinny EXs, Lugia, other Mews, Regieleki, and anything else that will give Arceus. So many of these will still get played, so you still need the 2 choice spells to help you hit that math. Then we got the stadium choice, which could be 3 different stadiums, which is very early Mew. Early Mew was like, we're playing an Old Cemetery. We're playing a Rose Tower. We're doing whatever we want. So, once a good turn, that player may heal 20 from each of their Metal and Dragon Pokemon. This is for Lost Box to mess up kind of math they want to do there by healing 30. By healing 30 from your Pokemon and messing up the math they want to do. Then we got the classic Path to the Peak. Pokemon with the rule box in play have no abilities. You have abilities. But if you Roxanne Path or Judge Path and you just like, I don't care if I have abilities, because if they get rid of it, I get to use my abilities, and if they don't get rid of it, maybe they're not doing anything. So it's definitely worth it. Like the control versions do play more, but this one just plays 1. And then we got the Lost City. Whenever a Pokemon uses your opponent's knocked out, it goes to Lost Zone, because we don't want Drapions being able to be cleared after we knock him out. with Mew. So you can be 1 Drapion, easy. 2 Drapions, ooh, I don't know. They're not gonna Mew. Get Drapion back, not get another Mew. You're not having a good time. Then we got the 4 Fusion Strike Energy. So I'm gonna talk about Fusion Strike Energy for a second. Call me touch your Fusion Strike Pokemon, not a big deal. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides every energy, but only one type. Prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to the Pokemon this card is attached to. Put this on your Genesect when they have a Klefki, and you can use Genesect. It was like that with Weezing. You can put it on, and you could still draw cards, and it is like that with Klefki. So obviously, we don't ideally want to put a Fusion Strike Energy on our Genesect with the Lisa Sparkle, but if it allows us to actually play the game, it is something that is good to do. So if you put the other one on Mew, you can still attack, you're still doing fine. But yes, so just do not forget that Fusion Strike Energy against Klefki is a thing that we could do. Then you got the 2 Double Turbo. Mew takes 2 colorless, so just let you attack out of nowhere. Pretty simple there. You do 20 less, but you know we got Power Tap, so it doesn't matter. And you got the V-Guard Energy. Pokemon this card statue takes 30 less from V's. So I was just one of those, like, does this matchup thing? Sometimes you just gotta attach it. It's fine. Let you save your Double Turbo for later, realistically. You can also just make it a 3rd Double Turbo if you don't want to worry about that. So, with that being said, this was Mew, the first deck here. We're going over. Tomorrow, we're going to go over the Miraidon deck. That's a new deck from the Scarlet and Violet expansion. And we're going to see how that one takes. That one's a really cool strategy. It's just attack. People who like Pikarom, the same Pikarom, but it's like, you know, fast sliding attackers. Everybody loves that stuff. So, with that being said, I'm Josh from Darkside. Check the description for info on our 1K next week. Cash prize until the winner. And I'll see you guys on the next video.